So, welcome to the fifth video of our course, our Introduction to Buddhist Meditation, focusing on the visualization of the Tantric Stupa. Our theme for this fifth course is the fifth form of the Stupa, the last form of the Stupa. Probably the most mysterious form of the Stupa, the flaming drop, the rainbow-coloured flaming drop. Linked to the element space. Linked is the element space, whether we look at it as Newtonian space or Akasha, the space in which imagination inhabits. And our Buddha is the white Buddha, the Buddha Varochana, who has the all-encompassing wisdom, the wisdom of the Dharmadhatu, absolute wisdom. We don't have a supporting meditation practice, but there will be a guided reflection on the formless dhyanas. And we'll start with looking at the meaning of initiation in the Tantra. We start by looking at the liberation of our energies. So, we'll be looking first at the vase of initiation and the meaning of initiation, tantric initiation. Our source as ever is Sangharakshita's book, Creative Symbolism, Tantric Buddhism. We've already looked at the elements in Buddhism in general. We've seen how we experience the elements through our senses and by their qualities. And we've seen the elements in Tantric Buddhism, how they were incorporated into the stupa, the elements of the so-called material universe, the elements relating to our states of mind, and the elements as our physical organism in meditation, relating to our physical organism in meditation. And now, we'll look at the symbol of the vase of initiation over the next two videos, which is used in Tantric initiation. But let's start with looking at what is Tantric initiation. What is initiation in Tantric Buddhism? In essence, it's the liberation of energy. Liberation of energy which elevates our state of mind from the more gross states symbolized by the forms at the bottom of the stupa to the more refined, symbolized by the forms at the top. the liberation of energies, how the Tantra conceived of direct experience of our true nature. So the Tantra begins with the liberation of energy. The spiritual path begins with the liberation of energy. So liberation of energy is very important. And maybe not how we usually think about Buddhism. First question for you of this video, or replies in chat, on WhatsApp or Telegram. How do you think usually about Buddhism? How did you think? Why did you start doing what you're doing? When you started to practice. So how are our energies liberated? If liberation of energies is the first step in the spiritual path, what do we need to do? In the Tantra, energies are liberated by initiation, by a ceremony of initiation. In Tibetan Buddhism, it's called Wongko, or simply Wong. It's generally translated as consecration or empowerment, and literally as transmission, the giving of power, energy. And it roughly corresponds to the Sanskrit abhisheka, performed by the sprinkling of water, and to our vase of initiation. Water is symbolically sprinkled in the ceremony of initiation for the liberation of energies from a vase or pot, containing, symbolically, the nectar of immortality, Bamba in Tibetan, Amrita, Kushat, Kalasha in Sanskrit. A stylized vase is placed on or against your head during a ceremony. It's a symbol for initiation. And sometimes you're given a meditation practice in the context of a Wongko, although sometimes it can be given in the context of a simple blessing. We'll look at the significance of the difference here a little bit later. But for now, enough to say that Tibetans who received initiation, as said Sangharakshita, described the ceremony as becoming a king. The ceremony performed by the Guru with the disciple, becoming a spiritual king, holding spiritual power, becoming an heir to the throne, virtually becoming a Buddha, but not in an egotistical sense. The question for you, have you ever felt like a king? At your birthday party as a child, perhaps? So why did they feel like kings? Maybe one strand to the answer is found when we reflect in the following manner. We saw that Tibetan Tantric Buddhism had its roots in Indian Tantric Buddhism, which in turn had its roots in, of course, Indian culture. And how did the ancient Indians consecrate their kings? Kings didn't become so by lineage or conquest, but by a ceremony of initiation, including water being sprinkled from 8 vases. In all cultures, water being the symbol of the unconscious, of the depths of the psyche. So water sprinkled means giving access to the highest powers. So the ceremony itself is very significant. So this is one of our sources. But what is tantric initiation even? Or more precisely, what really happens? What really happens in our own experience, since direct experience of our true nature is so important? As often is the case, a great starting point is examining our own personal experience. And we know that different people have different effects on us. Some people can be depressing. Some people can be invigorating. The guru activates our energies. They can't literally give us energy. They can't give us their energy. But they can stimulate or activate our own energies. The gurus who have highly positive energy activate our own positive energy. And this is what happens to Sangharakshita in an initiation. But why have the ritual then? Why have a ceremony? If a guru can activate our energies, our own positive energies by his own positive energies, by being himself, why the ceremony? This is another question which Sangharakshita asked himself when he first met Tantric Buddhism. He asked lots of questions, and he heard a story which gave him a clue. It was said that a more developed guru could give a more powerful initiation by a blessing, chinlap, which we already saw, than a less developed guru could give by full initiation or wonka. Sangharakshita came to the conclusion that the ritual was a supporting framework for communication. Communication became a very important theme in his teaching. But a supporting framework which, more spiritually developed, didn't need. Simply the guru's positive spiritual state was enough to activate our own positive spiritual state, our own positive, highly positive energies. And a question for you: who most powerfully, most positively has activated your energies? Parent, teacher, friend, musician, Buddhist. Sangharakshita further developed his thinking. It's not only our energies that can be activated at initiation. Our going for refuge is activated by the deeper going for refuge of the Guru. We'll look more at the tremendous significance of going for refuge in a later course. In Triratna, we recognize the great importance of going for refuge. Going for refuge is a central and definitive act of a Buddhist. Going for refuge to the three jewels, the three most precious things in the universe for a Buddhist: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Going for refuge being our spontaneous response to the three jewels, and focusing on deepening our going for refuge in our spiritual lives, being the central task. Our spiritual hierarchy of friend, mitra, and order member being based on a deepening going for refuge. So we don't have a simple ceremony to go for refuge once and for all. It's something we look to do every day, every minute, every moment, more and more deeply. For that reason, Sangharakshita thought it important that we didn't talk about taking refuge, as it can be spoken of in other traditions, but by going for refuge. Going for refuge is more dynamic. It's something that we do, our act, our personal initiative. But more on this later. Here, it's enough to say that initiation was seen as an aspect of going for refuge, representing the tremendous energy released when we go for refuge. And a question for you: what does going for refuge mean for you? What place does it have in your spiritual life? Can you give details? So, we've looked at Tantric initiation. We've looked at its goal, the liberation of our energies, and how a guru activates our energies through his own positivity, his own positive presence, through the medium of communication, whether in a wongkur, chinlap, or by other means. Now we'll return back to the elements and remembering how we did supporting practices to develop our awareness of the different elements. to help us with the visualization of the Tantric Stupa. We'll do a guided visualization to the same end. A little recap. We did the mindfulness of the body meditation, or awareness of the earth element. Formless meditation for the water element. Metta bhavana for fire. And the mindfulness of breathing for air. And our guided meditation has the same goal: to support us in visualizing the Tantric Stupa for the element space. And to do this, we'll be reflecting on the 4 Arupa Dhyanas. A little bit about the Rupa Dhyanas and the Arupa Dhyanas will come soon. But enough to say for now, the 4 Arupa Dhyanas are the 4 formless dhyanas. They're found in teachings of the Pali Canon. Looking at the word dhyana first, it comes from the root dhyai, which, to begin with, could be thought of as translated as to think of, to imagine, to contemplate, to meditate on, to call to mind, to recollect. But its meaning developed. Dhyana is often thought of as a state or states of meditative concentration, higher states of consciousness. Sangharakshita used the definition by Dr. Marion Matix to talk about dhyana. It says, the goal of dhyana is to pass through the door of the mind to other regions of experience than those provided by the common faculties of thought and sense perception. Once again, the goal of dhyana is to pass through the door of the mind to enter regions of experience, to enter other regions of experience than those provided by the common faculties of thought and sense perception. So that's dhyana. And a question for you: what is your experience of other regions of experience? Other regions of experience. So there are 2 aspects to dhyana. You could say that they're the higher states of consciousness themselves. But also, you can talk about dhyanas, the practices, which lead to their development. So we have dhyanas. We have Rupa Dhyana and Arupa Dhyana. Rupa Dhyana is the 1st, we'll do a guided reflection on the Arupa Dhyanas. They follow on from the Rupa Dhyanas. Rupa is a word that's familiar, I'm sure. Earth, water, fire and air are the elements that together are called Rupa. So they're the dhyanas of the world of form. Arupa, A being a negative prefix, are the dhyanas of the formless world. Like the teachings on states of mind connected with the stupa, the different forms of the stupa, the dhyanas come in order of higher levels of consciousness, from the most gross to the most subtle, pure. So we start with the 4 Rupa Dhyanas and finish with the 4 Arupa Dhyanas. We start with the first Rupa Dhyana and finish with the 4th Arupa Dhyana. So we'll be starting in the middle, in a sense, although everything that we've done already in the first 4 videos can be seen as a preparation. And you can find out more about the Rupa Dhyanas. Often they're just referred to as the Dhyanas in the next course, Buddhist meditation, going further, going deeper, and specifically what we need to do to cultivate them, to develop them. Enough to say here that the 4th Rupa Dhyana, the 4th Rupa Dhyana, the superconscious energies now contain and dominate the conscious mind, and bodily experience has faded away. And it's in this context that we'll start our guided reflection. So now we're ready for the guided meditation from the Arupa Dhyanas. So as ever, putting my bolster behind me, so I'm sitting up straight, relaxed, but upright. See, in case of straight. We can begin meditation. So guided meditation, the Arupa Dhyanas. Starting from where we are and listening to all the sounds around you. Now, bringing your attention to your body, seated here. The different sensations in your body. The energies, the emotions, bringing a kind awareness to the whole of your experience. Now, reflecting on the nature of the first Arupa Dhyana, the sphere of infinite space, imagining the experience of infinite space, it's space when it's free from all concrete objects, space free of our body as an object, space free of the material world becomes infinite. We are left face to face with infinite space, space without limit, any direction. This isn't visible space, seen by the eyes, seen from a point in space. But a feeling all-encompassing freedom. Feeling our being expanding outwards indefinitely and without limit. And using our breath or our body as an anchor for our awareness, reflecting on the sphere of infinite space, its true nature. And now, the second Arupa Dhyana, the sphere of infinite consciousness. If we're experiencing limitless, infinite space, we can reflect. We're experiencing by our consciousness, through our consciousness. So our consciousness too must be limitless. If infinite space is the object, infinite consciousness is the subject. Consciousness not emanating from a single point, not coming from a single point, but consciousness present everywhere, sitting with this experience of infinite consciousness. And coming to the third, Arupa Dhyana, the sphere of no thingness. Nothing can be ultimately distinguished from anything else. So no thingness. In everyday consciousness, we can pick out this is a flower, as distinct from a tree. We can pick out this is a house, as distinct from a person. But in the third dhyana, nothing has its own thingness. We can't identify something as this is this, or that is that. Not because they're confused, muddled up, not an absence of things, but it's not possible to pick them out from anything else. The subject-object dichotomy continues to break down, reflecting on the nature of no thingness. Now, the fourth Arupa Dhyana, the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. We go further beyond the subject-object dichotomy. in this state of meditative concentration. We can't say if we perceive something or not. We can't say if we perceive anything or not. We can't even say if there's anybody there to perceive it. Reflecting on the nature of the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. And now, beginning to get ready to leave the spheres of the Arupa Dhyanas. And coming back to our body, seated here. Coming back into our rooms by listening to all the sounds around you. And when you're ready, slowly and gently opening your eyes to finish the practice. So, how did the reflection on the Arupa Dhyanas go? Next question for you in chat. And moving on now to the visualization of the stupa, we'll focus on the fifth form, the highest form, the flaming drop, the rainbow-colored drop, the most mysterious form. We can have a look at it now. Here's the stupa, and our drop isn't quite rainbow-colored, but yeah, you get the general idea. It's not quite flaming either, but okay. So yes, the drop on top of the stupa, and it's associated with the element space. Like we've been reflecting on the sphere of infinite space just now. And we've seen space can be thought of in Newtonian terms, space in which physical objects are found, space which obeys the laws of physics. In Sangharakshita's poem, he says, the six elements speak. He says, I am space. I contain all, from a grain of dust to a galaxy, and that which exists in you. As a space, limited by earth, water, fire, and air. The space which exists in you, limited by earth, water, fire, and air that make up your physical being. But space sources having the quality of akasha, imaginal space, space which your imagination occupies, where space is light, and light is space. If you find this a bit abstract, we can have a direct experience of this. We have had a direct experience of this. We experience it when we decide to visualize the stupa in front of us or inside us. They feel different. When we do the visualization practice, you can try putting a stupa above your head, below you, the left or the right. You can try visualizing the stupa behind you. See how it feels. See what changes. The Buddha associated with the flaming drop. The Buddha associated with element space is Vairocana, the white Buddha. And his wisdom is the all-encompassing wisdom. The all-encompassing wisdom. The wisdom of the Dharmadhatu. Absolute wisdom. And you can see Vairocana. Here. Lots of symbolism that I won't talk about, but yes, the all-encompassing wisdom. A bit different from Amoghasiddhi with the all-accomplishing wisdom. That's wisdom in action. Here, the all-encompassing wisdom is a state of is a state of understanding, pure understanding, limitless understanding, perfect understanding. And we'll chant the mantra of Vairocana during the practice. This mantra being the oral image. If the all-encompassing wisdom was a sound, the mantra would be that sound. And if we're visualizing the stupa inside our bodies, the chakra is associated with the flaming drop. It's found on the level of the head, on top of the head, the crown of the head. And we'll hear a few lines from the poem, The Six Elements Speak. So, ready to start the visualization of the Tantric Stupa. So, should be ready to do the visualization of the Tantric Stupa now, once again. And once again, my bolster to make sure I have a good posture, be straight and upright and comfortable while I meditate. Okay, so right. So listening once again to all the sounds around you. And bringing your attention to your body, all the feelings, sensations, energies, emotions, thoughts, memories connected with your body. As we start the visualization of the Tantric Stupa, to begin with, start by seeing all around us the clear blue sky, the infinite clear blue sky, free of us, free of all objects, even free of our body as an object, becoming aware of infinite space, becoming aware of infinite consciousness, and in the midst of the clear blue sky, before us, inside us, there appears a yellow cube, a dazzling yellow cube, symbol of the element earth. On top of the yellow cube, we see a white sphere, a brilliant white sphere. Symbol of the element water. And on the white sphere, a red cone, a burning red cone. Symbol of the element fire. Above the red cone, we see a pale green hemisphere upturned. Symbol of the element air. And above the pale green hemisphere, we see a flaming drop, a rainbow-colored drop, a scintillating, flaming drop with all the colours of the rainbow. symbol of the element, space. I'm space. I contain all, from a grain of dust to a galaxy. I am that which exists in you. It's the space limited by the earth, water, fire, and air that make up your physical being. But now they have all gone, and I must go too, leaving you unlimited, leaving you unlimited. Now we can see the stupa as a whole. Feel the stupa as a whole. All the elements of your existence existing in space. existing in the clear blue sky. The sky of consciousness. So you can see your existence as a whole. Feel your existence as a whole. This is your true nature. What is your true nature, really? And now the flaming drop slowly dissolves into the pale green hemisphere. The pale green hemisphere slowly dissolves into the red cone. The red cone slowly dissolves into the white sphere. And the white sphere slowly dissolves into the yellow cube. The yellow cube slowly dissolves into the clear blue sky. The sphere of infinite space. The sphere of infinite consciousness. The clear blue sky of our consciousness. which in turn slowly dissolves away, leaving us seated here to absorb the effects of the practice. So, how did the visualization practice go? Another question for you for chat. The resume. Look at what we've done, what we covered in this video. We've looked at the liberation of energies through tantric initiation and had a guided reflection on the Arupa Dhyanas. We've looked at the symbolism of the flaming coloured drop, the flaming drop, the rainbow coloured drop at the top of the stupa, and the element space, Newtonian space and Akasha, imaginal space, where space is light and light is space. And we've been introduced briefly to the Buddha Vairocana as the all-encompassing wisdom, and did the stupa visualization practice with the mantra of Buddha Vairocana. Questions for you? A quick summary. How did we think about Buddhism when we first started? Why did we do what we were doing? Was it the liberation of energy or something else? And have you ever felt like a king at a birthday party as a child, perhaps? Tell us about it. And who most powerfully, most positively activates your energies? What does going for refuge mean for you? And what's your experience of other regions of experience? And how did the reflection of the Arupa Dhyanas go? How did the visualization of the Tantric Stupa go? For things to do during the week, I don't think there's too much to add. You can try the reflection meditation practice on the Arupa Dhyanas on your own. You can continue to do the visualization of the Tantric Stupa practice and chant the mantra of Vairocana before, maybe, or after meditation. And maybe better to keep focusing on the 4 supporting practices and other ideas from earlier videos for what to do during our everyday waking consciousness. Next week, our final video, we'll be looking at the element consciousness, the clear blue sky, shunyata, emptiness. And connected with that, looking at the meaning, symbolism when it comes to words and metaphors, and how the vase of initiation was incorporated into the stupa. We'll be able to do the stupa visualization practice having been familiarized with all the different elements of it. So that's our last week, and maybe there'll be something else as well. My wish for you for the week is a consciousness that expands into space and the feeling of lightness and freedom that can give. Thank you for your attention.